Hi everyone, I'm Miles.
And I'm Christine.
And this is Uni Life with Canvas Nottingham.
Uni Life is a podcast that hopes to join you as you navigate this unknown season. We want it to be valuable, authentic, fun, and a space where we figure out life and faith together.
This week we're going to share about what Canvas is, who it's for, and why it exists.
So for me personally, I have listened to podcasts on and off over the years, mainly because people would say or really probably numerous friends would tell me, hey, this episode's really great on this podcast. You should check it out. And then, if I was driving in the car or had something going on where I had time to listen to it, then I would make space. And then quarantine happened and basically the whole world changed. And during that time, I ended up listening to this one podcast. It's called Unlocking Us by Brene Brown, if you're wondering. And I started listening to it week in and week out. And it became like part of my weekly routine. Like I anticipated, when it would drop and look forward to it. And it's been really cool to experience kind of the journeying or becoming part of this podcast community around Unlocking Us. And so I just wanted to start by saying that's kind of our hope here in creating this podcast. One of our hopes, I should say, is that we want to create a space where you can, tune in each week and we can journey together, even from afar, in this socially distant world with lots of rules and regulations. We're hoping that this is a place of connection going forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I love podcasts myself. I've been an avid podcast listener for a long time now. Ever since basically radio went extinct and I don't drive myself everywhere, podcasts became my way of connecting with a wide variety of topics, from sports to intentional talk and discussions and Q&As and even some comedy. And so podcasts have been a great forum for all of that. But as much as I've loved listening to podcasts for the past 4 or 5 years, we've realized that recording a podcast is a little bit more difficult than just popping up and listening to one. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. We have to making sure our sound is good and making sure that we're not echoing all over the place, and then you actually want it to be good. So it takes some time to try to make sure there's enough content so it's not rubbish at the end of the day.
Yep. Some behind the scenes knowledge. This is not our first take or our second take. One of our first takes, our goal was for the episode to be 30 minutes, and it was 13 minutes our first go around. So we've learned a lot in our first few tries at this. Also, the world is ever changing. And so we also want to be speaking into, whatever's going on currently. And therefore, we have had to yet again sit down and do a round, round 2, we'll call it, of this take. So we are really excited that you are joining us today. And I'd say let's jump in.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun ride. So Canvas, what is Canvas? We're a charity for university students that have been around Nottingham since 2016. And by uni students, I mean all of you. You could be the uni student with absolutely no friends. We will be your friends here at Canvas. You could be the uni student with all the friends, and we will still be your friends here at Canvas. So regardless of your story, your background, you're welcome here at Canvas. You could be a person that wants nothing to do with people, or you could be the person who loves people. Either one is welcome here at Canvas. And we're a Christian-run charity for all uni students. So we're run by a staff of Christians, but it's for all uni students, regardless of who you are in your story.
Yeah, definitely. We want this place to be a space where everyone feels welcome, regardless of what you believe or don't believe. I think there is real value in connecting with people who are different from you and different from me. And there creates this beautiful diversity and growing experience to surround yourself by people who are different from you. And that, I think, is something that we really value and try to create space for here at Canvas. You may be wondering, based upon our accents, why Miles and I are Americans and working at this UK charity. So Canvas is run currently by 4 Americans. We were started by an organization that's based in the States, and because of that, a lot of our recruitment comes from America. Our dream is that in the future, just as we want Canvas to be a space full of different people from different places and very diverse, we also hope that our team will mirror that one day as well. And for now, you just get to enjoy our American accents. So hope you like them. And so that's Canvas.
And I just want to share a bit about like our journeys to Canvas and how we got here. Because you may be wondering, like, how did these 2 Americans end up in Nottingham? And for me, my journey to Canvas really started when I was at university. I went to university in the state of Georgia, which is near Florida, if you know the map of America. It's the state right above Florida. And when I was at university, my life sort of fell apart, as it sometimes does at university. And one of my good friends, one of my closest friends in school actually died. And it just threw my life into chaos. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't really know how to process or feel my emotions at that time. And at that time, one of my friends invited me to this place called CCF. And it's a place very similar to Canvas. It's a Christian-run community for university students. And at that place, I just found a place where I belonged. Each week, there was this one guy named Andrew who actually works for a place like Canvas right now as well, who every week he would just come and hang out with me. And he would just talk to me. He would invite me to lunch, and we would just get coffees together like week in and week out. And he would just ask me how I'm doing. And sometimes we just talked about sports, and other times it was a safe person where I could talk about how I'm feeling and like what was going on in my life, and how like I was processing the death of my friend. That was the exact place I needed and the person I needed at that time. And from there, Andrew encouraged me to really like sort of give back like the thing I was given to other people. And so I decided to intern at that place for a year. And I loved that year working with uni students. I just was able to talk with a lot of uni students, meet up with people for coffees and lunches and all sorts of things. And in those conversations, I just found like I really enjoyed talking to people and having meaningful conversations about life. And at the end of that year, I decided this was something I wanted to do long term. For those of you who don't know me, which is maybe a lot of you, my foreign language skills suck. Like my Spanish is muy mal, to give you an idea. And so I was invited to like work at a Canvas location in a Spanish speaking location. I said no, because the thought process of speaking Spanish full time kicked my butt. And so instead, I went to this place and got a theology education for 4 years. And while I was getting a theology education, a core part of the education is like the idea of Jesus and what Jesus thinks about community and why Jesus wants to invite in all people into this community, regardless of who they are. And I just love that concept. And it was just like the foundation for my life. When I was about finished, about a year out from my time finishing my degree, I knew a person, actually one of my teammates right now, Matt, who is going to help start a new Canvas location in Nottingham. And he told me, and a lot of other friends told me, that they thought I would be a good fit in England. And at that point, I talked to my coworker, Christine, now, and we had a couple-hour conversation about like starting a new Canvas location in Nottingham. And then at the end of the conversation, she asked me if I wanted to join the team. And 13 months later, I moved to Nottingham, England, and I've been here ever since. So I've been here since October of 2016. It's been a little bit of a journey.
That has been a journey. Thanks for sharing, Miles. What are your thoughts on Nottingham as a city since you've now been here for 4 years?
Nottingham is my number one city in the world right now. Or no, well, maybe not the world. Okay, I maybe got a little too carried away.
Wow.
The number one city I've lived in, because
Awesome.
I've lived in some larger cities and some smaller cities, but I really like medium-sized cities because there's a lot of local things, but you still can get around.
Yeah, I agree. I think Nottingham's wonderful. Another thing I wanted to highlight that you mentioned is just having a person alongside you during this time in your life that journeyed with you. And I think that there's something so awesome about that. Like we all need someone to come alongside us in the days that are, difficult, or in the days when you just want to talk about nothing that matters. There's something so needed, I think, by all humans in having that person to journey with you and have that connection.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like the authentic community where you can be the fullness of who you are. Like the person who can talk about how you're really feeling and what's tough, but also the person that's fun and just is able to be themselves and laugh and have a good time. Like that's the fullness of who we all are.
Yeah, I think that's a real gift. I'm glad that you mentioned it along with your introduction. So just to back up a little bit, I just wanted to say we really want you to, if you don't know us, if you're just listening to us and you're getting to hear us for the first time, we just want, we're introducing ourselves because we want you to know who we are. And I know that for me personally, I really value when I'm listening to someone else share some content, like who's it coming from and what's their life experience and why does it matter what you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, we don't want to be these voices you just hear without any connection. We want you to understand a bit about who we are and why we care about this community thing. And we want to invite you into it.
Definitely. And so for me, my journey with Canvas began my third year of uni. I was at a place in my uni experience where it honestly just was unfulfilling. I had large expectations of what uni was going to be. And I think a lot of those fell into kind of the friendship category. And honestly, I think who you do life with really affects what your life looks like. And I was just at a place where I was unsatisfied with a lot of the friendships that I had. The people that I had surrounded myself with weren't really people I wanted to become like, which it created this tension because I think a lot of times we are a lot like the people we spend the most time with. And so at this point in uni, I had somebody similarly to Miles actually come into my life and recommend to intern at this place called Canvas. And it was an easy sell because I was unsatisfied and I loved the idea of going to England for a period of time and experiencing something new. So I took the year out of uni, which isn't as big of a deal in America, and I moved to Birmingham and interned that year. My goal in doing so was basically to not do what I was currently doing. It was less about actually being pumped about being a part of Canvas. But wow, I had no idea how big of an impact that year would have on my life. And one specific moment that I always think about that was quite pivotal in my time there was I had a friend. She was a student at the time, and we would hang out. I met her through Canvas, and I quickly learned that she struggled with an addiction to alcohol, and that was very much a part of her rhythm in life. And I had never really met somebody who I, was my age, who I could totally relate to, but who also was going through something that was so challenging. And long story short, I ended up doing life with this student, and one day ended up cleaning her room. And that may sound so weird to you, and that's fair. Little fact about me is I love to clean, and I really value organization. I'm type A. I'm a 1 on the Enneagram. I loved having the opportunity to help clean her space, which was it was a mess. I'm not gonna lie. So I helped clean her room, and it kind of sparks this change in her, which I was totally surprised by. She ends up kind of getting her life starts headed in a different direction after that point. She kind of re-engages with uni. She decided to get help for her addiction to alcohol and ended up going through rehab. And as far as I know, I'm pretty sure she's still clean today. And so for me, being a part of Canvas that year and still even now looks like coming alongside someone in whatever season of life they're looking like and loving them in ways that are very intentional to them where they're at, and getting to see the tangible impact that makes in their life. And so I went back to uni in America, graduated with a primary education degree, which I still have never used because I returned to England and have been working at Canvas ever since. I worked in Birmingham for 3 years and then moved to Nottingham to help start Canvas 2.0. And yeah, I'm still, I would say that those kind of moments like I had with that student in Birmingham are still the moments that I do this job for, is just getting to see the impact that like real, authentic, no strings attached, unconditional love can make in a person's life.
That's really cool. And it seems like something that you said very early on in your story was like the unfilled expectations of uni. Like that just seems to be a constant theme. Like from my experience, like at uni, like not all my expectations were met. A lot of my friends and a lot of the other people I've talked to about uni.
Yeah, definitely. Looking back, I think part of it is because there's so much that I wanted out of uni, and also I didn't really have the tools or knowledge to know how to gain access to those things. Like I didn't realize that, the person that I wanted to be would be so affected by the people I decided to surround myself with. And I didn't really have the wisdom to think through like be intentional about, who I'm choosing to make friends with and who I'm spending my time with. And yeah, I don't know. I think I had my priorities out of line in a lot of ways. Like the things I prioritized were never going to lead me to the things that I wanted. And it took me figuring that out the hard way to realize it. So if you're listening and can relate to that, you are definitely not alone.
We want to reiterate that like Canvas is for you, the university students. And at the beginning of the podcast, I shared a bit about why like Canvas exists. We want to provide that community for you. But now I want to transition into the how, because the how has changed, and we will get into in a minute what Canvas will look like this upcoming year. But I realized that for some of you listening, you have no like idea of what like we mean by Canvas. And so I'm going to share a bit about like our history of Canvas and what Canvas looked like before, to try to paint a picture for you of what we're trying to create moving forward. And so it's the same. So Canvas is the same why, but a different how now. And the goal of Canvas is to love uni students. At the end of the day, that's what we want to do. So regardless of who you are in your story, we want to love you. And we want to figure out how to do life and faith together. And so faith is a central part of Canvas. The staff at Canvas are all Christians. So we believe in this guy named Jesus and what he taught, and we want to model our lives around him. And we believe that a core part of that is community and doing life together with people who are different than us as well. And we want everyone to be welcomed into that conversation. So regardless of what you believe, what your history is, you have a valuable part to play in this conversation. We want to hear what you think, what you know, your experiences, because they are a value added to the conversation. So regardless of your story, it's welcomed here at Canvas. And if you agree with everything we say, or if you disagree, your voice is still included in the discussion. So you could think this is all rubbish, and we would gladly listen to you tell us that why it's rubbish. So you're included in the conversation, but the entire point is to create authentic things. Authentic conversation. We don't want to just have a bunch of people nodding along saying yes, yes, yes. You can dialogue. You can be like, I agree with that, but I disagree with this. Or I think that's rubbish because of this reason, and this reason. So your experience matters here at Canvas, and you're invited to share it alongside other people's experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I would add to that too is that we want to create a space where everyone's respected and that they're heard. And let's be honest, none of us have this figured out. Miles and I are very aware that we definitely do not have all of these things in life figured out. And so I think we all have room to grow and learn from one another. And so sometimes I feel like a boundary that we put up between like learning and growing is that we are not open to hearing from people who see the world differently from us. And so I think creating a space that people can do that and feel comfortable being honest and being real and sharing their views and their perspectives and their experiences, I think we have a lot to gain from a space like that.
Absolutely, because I believe every person can teach us something. Like no person is exempt from that.
Definitely.
And like some of how we did that beforehand was in a physical location. So we have a physical location at 72 Linton Boulevard. So if you know where Savoy Cinema is, it's right around the corner from there, right on Linton Boulevard. And we used to have all these in-person events. So throughout the week, Canvas would have been open like a coffee shop. People could just drop in and hang out and play some board games, listen to some music, have conversation with friends. We would also have 2 events during the week. One of them was this community-based event where people could play games and hang out and just meet other people and meet other students and learn from other people's experiences. And then the other event was this thing called the dab. The dance move. The dab, like the dance move. And it was a place where students and all of us could dabble in life and faith together. And usually during the dab, a staff member would give a 15 or 20-minute talk about Jesus and community and like how that shapes all of this. And then we would invite people into a conversation with it afterwards. But guess what? We're in Corona times, and that can't happen exactly as it once did.
Yeah, that's really true. And so now we're going to basically, alongside one another, figure out what to do in this new season. We here in Nottingham have just entered another phase of this Corona experience with new restrictions and regulations put into place. And let's be honest, a lot has changed over the past year, especially since this time last year. So it's hard to find places where you can engage with other people in the uni journey. It's hard to find places to meet people and to exist in some sort of community that we've talked so much about today. And so I think it's just helpful to say it how it is. This year is totally strange. Unprecedented, I feel like, has been a hot word over the past like 10 months. And I think it's totally true. And so I think before I even explain kind of what our thoughts about what Canvas will do going forward, I think it's helpful to note that it's probably going to change. Flexibility, I feel like, is something that I definitely am I'm being challenged to grow in.
We both are.
At this time. And so that's kind of our expectation for today. When you're listening to this, this is kind of what we have going on, what our thought process is at Canvas at the moment. So because we can't gather in person right now in Knots, we are going to try to find as many creative ways to gather online as possible. That doesn't mean we're going to try to gather online as many times as possible, because let's be honest, no one needs that. But we're going to try to make the times we do gather together really valuable and the quality very high, because I feel like we could all benefit from that. So one thing we're going to do is host these interest groups, which create space for a small group of people to gather together and do something fun together. That could be play D&D or chat about a book and create a little bit of a book club. It could be do some sort of arts and crafts over Zoom, or play a board game online, or things like that. So we're hoping to do that. I think fun plays a really integral role in this season that is so challenging. And so we're hoping to prioritize fun when we gather together in these interest groups. We're also hoping to host, or planning to actually host big Zoom events. We did one previously that was a quiz night that was really fun. Miles led it. You did a great job, Miles.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And he said thank you in case you didn't hear him. For some reason, he whispered.
Yes. Whispering is not good for the podcast forum. Go figure.
It's not good for the podcast forum. So yes, we're going to continue to find fun things we can do in a large group setting over Zoom. One that I've heard recently that we're going to explore is some game called Among Us, which seems to be all the rage. I know that you play it on your phone, but I think we could also have a Zoom call going so we could interact while we play the game. Stay tuned, no promises, but I'm definitely looking into it. The third thing that we're going to do is the podcast. We are going to have something for you to listen to on a regular basis as a way to connect from afar. And that we are very, very excited about. It's going to basically provide a space where instead of giving talks like we used to at the DAB, we're going to have awesome discussions.
Exactly. And I just want to give you a bit of information about what to expect for future podcasts, since this is episode 1. We want to create something that is very accessible for you. We realize this year you're going to be figuring out a lot. But if you're going to the bus, walking to the bus, or if you're doing some washing up around your house, or if you're just on a walk, which is a great time to listen to a podcast, we want to provide a space that fits into your life, into your schedule, where you can encounter conversation about life and faith. And we want it to be a very authentic podcast. We want it to be real and talk about things that are impacting you. So we'll have some experts on to talk about some mental health stuff. We'll have other students share about their life experiences at uni. We'll have a little bit of everything, just to make it as relevant to your lives as possible. And basically, since we're not doing the weekly events, this podcast will drop every Wednesday. So we want to provide this routine, something consistent in your life that you can look forward to. So hopefully it's something that's adding value into your life. So every Wednesday, be on the lookout for a new episode of Uni Life with Canvas Nottingham.
Sweet. Well, that kind of wraps up our first episode. At the end of each episode, we are going to ask whoever we're interviewing 5 kind of questions to help segue into the end of the episode. And today's the first day. I have the honor of asking Miles. So, Miles, finish this phrase. Community is
Invaluable.
invaluable. It's good. What is your favorite takeaway?
Good Chinese.
Do you have a favorite?
Sweet and sour chicken. I'm sometimes a person of routine. Basically, once I find something I like it, I will stay with it for life. And sweet and sour chicken is one of those things.
What about in Nottingham? Do you have a spot where you get sweet and sour chicken?
So there's a few different places. They all have things, but I think Man's Chinese is no, Man's is takeaway the best one. But if I'm ever in Beeston, there's this place called Nosh. It's the best sweet and sour chicken I've ever had in my life. Not even close. And it's good when you have to pay in cash. So
just a heads up, if you go to Nosh and Beeston, take cash with you. What are you currently binging, or what have you most recently binged that you really enjoyed, Miles?
I watched this show called Ted Lasso. It was about an American football coach. So yes, like the football that you throw with your hands, coming over to coach a Premier League football team. And there was just a lot of jokes about an American fish out of water in the British system, but it was just like fun but good-natured, and like he's much smarter and more emotionally intelligent than you probably would assume looking at an advertisement.
Sounds good. And what's something that you have been grateful for, or that you're grateful for in the midst of COVID?
I'm grateful that my cooking proclivity has increased.
Wow, proclivity. What a word.
Yes, and I feel like a few years ago, my cooking was very limited to about like 3 dishes. And now it's maybe expanded to 7 to 10. And I mean, I can also follow recipes. So it's more than that, but I just do off of heart. But like, man, it's like if I become a parent one day, now I would have a meal for each day of the week for my child. So there's something good in that.
Congratulations. I bet your housemates are happy about that as well.
Sometimes they're also like, hey, can you learn something new? I've had enough of that.
Well, at least it's 7 to 10 instead of 3 now.
Yeah.
All right. Our last question is, would you rather? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Would you rather have to fight off 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Oh, this is 1 horse-sized duck.
1 horse-sized duck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to fashion a weapon or something to take it down.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Or I could just try to jump on it and then I could have a pet that I could ride around.
So you're going to tame the horse-sized duck.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely. I could fly with the duck, and then I would be like in Harry Potter. It would be like a hippogriff or whatever that's called.
I would love to see you arrive to Canvas for work on a horse-sized duck.
That would be a great mode of transportation.
Especially in today's world.
Oh, yeah. Like social distancing would be very easy. Nobody would come within my bubble.
That's true. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. It has been awesome to share a little bit about Canvas. I hope you have enjoyed it. We would love for you to follow us if you want more information on Facebook and Instagram at Canvas Nottingham. Feel free to shoot us a DM and introduce yourself. I would personally love to connect with you.
Same here.
So thanks so much, and we will chat with you next week.
Talk to you later.
See ya.